Hello everybody. BC here with another video, and I'm going to be talking to you about balance changes. Now, all these cards got buffed or nerfed in this last balance change that just happened earlier this morning. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts while I do training camp battles, because my replays are kind of garbage to show you right now because I haven't been doing much battles. So I'm just going to tell you what I think about what happened in this last update. What I think is I think Battle Ram should not have gotten nerfed. And I'm going to explain all this. So this is what I'm saying, what they should have done instead of what they did. Now, don't get me wrong. Supercell was just trying to change the meta, but they changed it too big. They changed it too big. I don't think this was a very good battle change by Clash Royale. Oh my god, this would be embarrassing if I lost to a trainer. But, yeah, so I'm going to tell you. Now, like I said, you don't nerf Battle Ram. Because I'm gonna explain all this later. What I do also think, because now I think I think the mini P.E.K.K.A buff was needed. I think now that the buffing the mini P.E.K.K.A, it put it in a contender with the Night Witch, not as big as a contender when it was before the update. So what I think is you nerf it a little bit. But I don't think you nerf Night Witch as much as you did. Now, like, Night Witch replaced mini P.E.K.K.A, and now mini P.E.K.K.A is replacing the Night Witch, which that's not healthy. I think they should have been, like, split pretty evenly among decks, so you don't nerf that as hard. But you still nerf it, because it was still way too strong. But you, like I said, you do nerf it. And now, what I'm thinking is buff the Hog Rider. Now, you'd have to buff the Hog Rider. I know, Hog Rider's a strong card. It's gone through like one balance change ever. And that was a nerf. Now I do is you buff it. I don't know how you buff it, but you buff it. Because now you give it more health, I think. You give it more health. Because now you have mini P.E.K.K.A and Night Witch in the meta, which would still both destroy Hog Riders. So, that's why also you don't buff Battle Ramp, because it was pretty much a substitution between Battle Ramp and Hog Rider. Now, so if you put the buff to Hog Rider would be better. Now, would be still do very good against Night Witch and mini P.E.K.K.A, but not overly strong. So then if you didn't nerf Battle Ram, like, look at that. Look how long it's taking to charge. Like, that's ridiculous. So what I think is, so then if you don't nerf Battle Ram, it's going to be very even between Hog Rider and Battle Ram in decks. So that's why I think that. This could be just me, but that's what I think they should have done with that part. Now I'm going to tell you what I think about the grave. Well, first I'm going to tell you about these ones. Heal, I haven't gotten discussed yet. I think Dark Prince was a great buff. That's also would be a contender with Hog Rider and mini P.E.K.K.A. I mean, a Hog Rider and Battle Ram. But since the Hog Rider was not buffed and the mini P.E.K.K.A is the best counter to Hog Rider, and Hog Rider was not buffed, I think Dark Prince is going to be in the meta. So that's what I think. Look, like, now if you didn't nerf Battle Ram and you buffed Hog Rider a little bit, just gave it a little bit more HP, then the Dark Prince, Battle Ram, and Hog Rider would be, like, probably really close to like, equally in all decks. Like, so, like, 33% of decks with at least one of those cards would have Battle Ram, 33 would have Dark Prince, and 33 would have Hog. So that's what I think. So I think the Dark Prince was a great buff. Like I said, I think the mini P.E.K.K.A buff was needed too. I just think the Night Witch didn't need to get nerfed that bad. Bats, I think, was a solid, great buff. Right now, I haven't seen problem. I know now they're going more towards going more. Now look how long I placed it down. Like what, 253? It takes too long to charge now. I think they nerfed that pretty hard. Now what I think you should have done, I think the Ice Wizard buff was needed. Now, and the Electro Wizard, I think that buff was fine. I don't think it's going to change the usage rate too much. But obviously, I don't know the meta yet. very well. So if it change, so if one is how when I know when the meta changes, that's when I'll know if the Electro Wizard's gonna get hurt or not. I don't think it's gonna get hurt too bad. If the Electro Wizard C is still doing just fine. Now what I think, and I think the Ice Wizard buff though was fine too. It's in like the mini P.E.K.K.A. and Dark Prince thing. I think those buffs were needed, but another card they nerfed didn't need to get nerfed, which was the Graveyard, which I have right here. The Graveyard did not need to get nerfed. Like, it was a very strong win condition. Yes, I understand. But if you make it to where Ice Wizard can one-shot skeletons, then why did you nerf Graveyard? You gave Graveyard another, like, 2 counters because you have the Dark Prince too. So you gave the Graveyard another 2 counters, and then you nerf it? So that's why I don't think the Graveyard should have gotten nerfed. And now I'm going to tell you about the Mortar and the Expo. Like what Molt said, if you haven't watched his video, like, he's obviously way better, so watch him. This buff, like, really came out of nowheres, the Mortar and the Expo. So I think there's both solid cards. I always thought they were solid cards. That's like the cards, if you know how to use, they're going to be fantastic. If you do not know how to use them, it's going to be a rough card. You know? So that's why I think. So I just think now it needs a little bit less skill. So people who aren't very skilled with it will now be pretty skilled with it. Like, they can have success with it even if you're not skilled anymore. Like skilled at that play type. Like, because you could be a very skilled player at the game and still you might be good at other types. You might be good at hog cycles or golem beatdowns. Now I think you need a little less skill to play Siege, which they're probably going for because they want more people to play Siege. But if you look at Clash Royale, low usage rate but high win rate. That's just how it is with these decks. With Siege decks, you have to know how to play them or you're not going to have a lot of success with them. But yeah, that's what my overall take is. I haven't known much about the heal, so I can't say much about the heal. But that's what I think necessarily about those balance changes. I don't think they should have nerfed Night Witch as hard as they did. I think the mini P.E.K.K.A. Ice Wizard buff were needed, but because they nerfed it, but since they buffed the mini P.E.K.K.A. and they buffed Ice Wizard, that means I think they should not have nerfed Graveyard. They should have kept it as Graveyard was, because Graveyard would have gotten weakened, and so it wouldn't have been as big of a threat anyway. And I think Hog Rider should have gotten a little buff, because if they didn't nerf Night Witch as hard, you know, then Hog Rider wouldn't be very viable. And now since they nerfed Battle Ram, I think Battle Ram's not going to be part of the meta. They nerfed it pretty hard. I think it needed a slighter nerf. I think like maybe a little bit less charge damage. Like reduce that by like a very small amount. Or reduce how fast it charges, but not that long. It took way too long to charge up. And that's what I think about the balance changes. If I missed a card, tell me. But I don't think I did. I'll actually check if I missed a card right now, so you guys don't need to tell me. And like I said, I don't know much about the heal, so that's why I didn't talk about it. I don't know how good or bad it's going to affect the meta. I don't think heal actually needed a nerf now, because they nerfed a lot of the cards heal, but they nerfed the Battle Ram, which was so 3 Musketeer decks. Well, I guess we'll still be strong with it. So I guess the nerf was kind of needed. Like I said, I do not agree on how bad they nerfed it. Like, they should have kept the bat spawn speed at 6. They didn't need. Okay, what I think they should have done is took away the damage and did the 2 bats from death. They did not need to do the range and the bat speed. Then I think that would have been a solid nerf to the Night Witch. I think they could have done a little bit less damage too. Like, make it like 7%. But the 9%, it messes with interactions with other cards. So that's why I can't necessarily say that. But do the damage and bat death, I don't think I needed the range or the spawn speed. The Battle Ram, it says it takes a bit longer to begin charging. It takes way too long. I think they should reduce that a little bit more. And the Barbarians did not need to spawn slower. They should have just kept the same. Like I said, now since you buffed Dark Prince and Ice Wizard and Bats, Graveyard didn't need to get nerfed. Electro Wizard, I think that buff was needed. I think it was a nerf was needed, and I think it was a good nerf. I don't think it's gonna hurt that card too much. I just still, like I said, I don't know what the heal, how much about the heal. Mini P.E.K.K.A, I think that buff was needed. And I just don't think so that's why I don't think they should have nerfed the Night Witch that hard. And I think they should have buffed the Hog, because now Hog is going to be weaker against the Mini P.E.K.K.A, and it needs to compete with Dark Prince, which it probably won't now. Expo Mortar, I think it was a solid buff. Like Molt said, though, I think it just kind of came out of nowhere. No one was really expecting it. But I think that was an okay buff. Now I heard Expo is now starting to become part of the meta, which could be a good thing. And I already told you what I thought about the Dark Prince. Ice Wizard, I think that buff was needed. And I like the Bats, I think was a pretty good buff. So that's what I think. See y'all next time. Peace out.